Here we are. So, Don
This
Bell,
is Len Gilbert.
Len Gilbert.
We've known each other since public school. Okay, so 72 years anyway.
When you're still friends.
And,
Yes.
That's a
fighting
beautiful
buddies,
thing.
Fighting buddies.
Yeah.
Done a lot of motorcycle trips together.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of accidents together.
Yes. Sure.
Okay, let's focus on Port Stanley.
All
for
right.
now.
Port Stanley. Okay.
It was going to clear away of Friday the 13th or any of that stuff.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
Port Stanley. And thank you so much for taking the time today. What we're trying to do is just get some memories from people about
Okay.
what Port Stanley was like in the old days. Somebody coming in today might not know half the things that have gone on here or what it used to be
Right.
like.
Yeah.
And you two have gone to school here.
How about
know
we
some-
start down the main beach?
Well, I
What
was
like?
thinking,
Was
would
it
they
the
even know
boardwalk
the areas? Would they know Orchard Beach? Would they know Tin Pan Alley?
Where's
You know,
Tin
would
Pan
they,
Alley?
Would they
Don?
know Woodpecker Point?
Okay,
You know,
tell
would they
us
do the
all those.
Picnic
Yeah,
Hill?
tell us all those.
Okay.
Tin
Tin
Pan
Pan
Alley.
is right behind where my dad had his second office. Now, if you
Yes.
go
Now
down
just
Main
stop.
Street,
Your dad was the doctor here,
Yes.
Doc Bell.
Dad was
Yeah.
a doctor here.
Orchard Street? Is that what it's called?
I think it's Orchard Street. Just as you come by, go past the monument going south.
Yeah.
The first left-hand turn and go back down in through there. That was called Tin
It's a
Pan
dead
Alley.
end. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Woodpecker Point.
Why was it called Tin?
I have
I don't
no idea. There I can't tell you because that was
know
done
that one.
before I was. They said,
Yeah.
"There's Tin Pan Alley." I
Yeah.
said, "Oh, I
That's all we call it.
yeah."
It's
They used to have a furrier over there. They used to have
Yep. blacksmith.
a blacksmith over
Yep.
there.
Okay.
He used to work in that area, and also a nice building over there.
Yep.
There's a bunch of things over there.
On
were
that
there.
street in behind.
On the
Yep.
street
Yep.
and behind there. Woodpecker Point is up where, if you go down Orchard Beach and then turn to the left on Harrison, going down Harrison Road and then go up
Testy
the hill.
Smith's up above.
Up the hill.
Yeah.
That was
Woodpecker
Woodpecker
Point.
Point.
Okay, at the end.
Braeside, yeah,
Yeah.
that's Braeside up
Yeah.
there. So,
Yeah.
what other?
And that was probably because maybe there were some geese up there.
Or woodpeckers.
Or woodpeckers.
Yeah.
Yeah, could have been.
Yes. Yes.
Can't tell you that either. It's
Don't
just
know.
that that's what we knew the names of, and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So, the main beach, Little Beach, and Big Beach.
Yeah.
Erie Rest was a beach too. You have to know
Yeah.
where Erie Rest Beach
Yeah.
was and stuff like that. So, I think I did that to our minister when she first came in. I said, "You
Okay.
got to know these spots."
Yeah, and now there's a big sign at Erie
Yeah.
Rest, a big stone there
Yeah.
they put up a year or two
Yeah, it's
ago.
gorgeous. It's beautiful in there. So, now Port Stanley. Where do you want to
Well,
start?
I was
with
thinking
Port
the
Stanley?
main beach back when we had the boardwalk when we were teenagers. It was a
I wanted to
very
go-
going place.
I wanted to go
It was
far
very
farther
cool.
than that.
Well-
I'd like to do it by ages.
Well, we
Let's
were
go
around when the
before
roller
public
coaster
school.
was there.
Yeah, I know. Public school, before public school. Okay, I was living, do you want any information
Street?
about Dad?
Yeah,
first?
yeah.
Smith
Yeah.
Street you were on, weren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but before that, Dad was up on Colburn Street, right
Yep.
across from Foodland. He had a little house in there, but when Doug and I came along, it was too small, so we moved down to Smith Street. And from my birth till about 4 or 5 years old, I lived on Smith Street. And I can remember walking down to the beach, and they had, it was like a little circus down there. Okay, they had merry-go-rounds and they had rides and stuff. And I can remember going down with Doug in my pajamas and walking down and getting underneath the canvas on the horses and getting up and riding the horses. And Mom and Dad were trying to find us, and stuff like that. So that,
You and your brother.
me and my twin brother,
Yeah.
so we get down there. And that was a little fun. And if we're talking about the beach at that time, we're going back. Not a lot was down there,
No,
So.
no. That was later in their teenage years
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
got.
The store club was there. The bathhouse was there. There was a few booths down there. at that
Mackey's
time.
was a little wooden, two little shacks.
Yeah,
One
it
for
had
French
actually
fries and-
Mackey's had
Was-
there was a bigger area that
Yeah.
did the popcorn and the hot dogs
Yeah.
and the hamburgers, and then across the way they had a chip booth.
Yeah.
and you get the chip booth in both of those places, which was kind of good.
Yeah.
Or Star Club, right? Star Club was a going concern.
It was.
All the way
Oh,
from
yes,
us
we
being
went-
young
yep.
right up till. That's
We
right
went
up
there
to-
a lot, Star
Yeah,
Club.
yeah,
when we
went
were
to a
young,
lot. We
yeah.
can talk a
So
little
some
bit
of the
about
big
that.
bands there.
Yep,
Oh
big
yeah, we can
bands,
talk
yep.
about that. We'll
Yep.
talk about that.
Yep.
They had a pool outside.
The swimming pool was
Yes,
still there, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
could
it
see
was still
the-
there.
We could see the outline of
We
it.
could see the outline and the swings were there. Len can remember the water right up
Yeah,
underneath.
I can
can't.
remember water up.
I can't remember
right up
the
the
water
Stork
up
Club.
underneath.
Yep.
But a lot of good times were had in the Stork Club, and one of my best memories is when you're a boy of about 14, all you're thinking about at that time is girls. And I was lucky enough that the girls were running the Stork Club, and Jimmy allowed us, we'd go up with him and we decorated the Stork Club with all the balloons and all the stuff that came down, and it was, and go up on New Year's Eve, and I went up and I had black pants, good pants on and a white shirt, and I would take people to tables. And it was fantastic because the girls were all gorgeous. And the guys would end up, here's a couple of bucks for taking us to the table, you know, and stuff like that. And you're listening to the band and the music and watching all the people dance. And then at the end of the night, if you're down there, we're cleaning up all the balloons that have broken. And girls would come along and take your thing and they'd clean the floor for you. It was fantastic. So it was beautiful.
I didn't do any of that.
No, but you roller skated down there. In the
Yeah, I
Stork
did,
Club.
the roller drum, yeah.
And we had guys like, I remember, I'll leave him in a minute. We had the big bands, so you had Guy Lombardo, and you had Tommy Dorsey, and you had a guy from London there, Johnny Downs.
Yeah,
They
Johnny
played there
Downs.
quite a bit. And always a good crowd in there, always a good thing. And then it started to do a little more modern dancing as we got older. And we had younger guys coming in, you know, with guitars and stuff like that, rather than big bands. And you're listening to Tom Jones and stuff like that, you know. And it was pretty good dance along with that. And good times.
It was a busy place down there.
Yeah, busy
That-
times. So.
yeah.
Do you remember when it burned down? What
Oh,
happened?
Yeah.
How it burned
I don't
down,
believe it burned, it didn't burn down.
Yeah,
It
we
was-
think
It
so.
was just an excuse to tear it down.
which was
It
too
didn't burn
bad.
bad.
Because
They had it out.
Yeah, they
It
could
was
have.
just in the kitchen. It
There was
wasn't that bad.
a beautiful. He's got some pictures of the inside of the Stork Club on with posters there, and they had a wishing well down at the one end, and it was kind of towards the beach side where it burned, and it wasn't too bad at
No,
all.
it really wasn't.
And the floor was beautiful. The biggest dance floor on North America. Eh? You
Yeah.
guys knew that? It was the
Wow.
biggest dance floor
Yeah.
in North America. And then after the big band started to fade away, they used it for roller skating. Was it ever nice?
Yes.
We went down there and roller skated all around, and that was a real
Inside the Stork Club.
inside the Stork
inside.
Club, up on the second floor.
Yeah.
The first floor down below
Yeah.
was eating and stuff like that, but that was up above.
That was all before the
Yeah.
What was it open then? Was it a mezzanine type of thing? Or
When
was
you
it-
when you came in, there's a few stairs going down to downstairs, and they had tables set up where you could eat and do stuff like that. If you for the upstairs, and again, he's got some pictures of where you come up and you're in I don't know what you'd say, like a little porch, and they had
Landing,
chairs and stuff,
yeah.
and you come up from both sides
landing,
to
yeah.
get into, and then you go up both sides and up to the dance floor.
And that was one level floor across the whole
Yeah,
place.
Yeah.
across the whole
So the
place.
dance floor was upstairs
Yeah.
and
Yes,
dining was
yes,
downstairs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was an upstairs and downstairs.
Yeah.
And they had balconies where they shone lights down. They had the big crystal ball in the middle, you know, where you see it spins around. And it looked good. It looks good. It's a lot of fun. And we just covered the floor when we had a little. We blew some of the balloons out. That's where I learned to tie a balloon, you know, and stuff like that. Because we had a little machine there to blow the balloon, but you do it yourself. And we had the whole floor just covered. Then you'd make the bouquets and stuff like that. Yeah, pretty good. A lot of fun down there. Another thing, just coming towards Port Stanley from the Stork Club, they had the bathhouse. Now that was where the people in the older
days would rent a bathing
would
suit.
rent a bathing suit.
And they had little lockers where you go in and change.
Yeah.
Your clothes
Leave
in,
your
get it-
clothes and
We
they
played a
give
lot
you a
of
lock.
yeah,
Yeah.
we played a lot of tag in there.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
get in there and run around and play
Yeah.
a lot of tag in there. And they had a little area where the boys that rented it had a little area set up, and you could watch the people
was like a
walking down the
bachelor
boardwalk.
pad,
Yeah, like
yeah.
a bachelor pad up there. And we'd watch.
I used to
the
rent
guys.
surfboards back
Yeah.
there when I was 12
Yeah.
years old
Yeah.
or something, and that's where I stored them inside. And,
Stored them inside.
You wouldn't believe the money you'd make back then. On a Saturday or a Sunday, you'd make $250 clear.
And back then,
So
man,
that's out your
oh
That was
yeah,
excellent money.
And that's when that was worth something too,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
that's why he
real
ended
good.
up owning 76 cars. Was it that many? Something like that. I don't know. A lot of cars anyway. And at the far end of the bathhouse was a little arcade.
Yes.
And you'd go in, we'd come home with stuffed animals and stuff
Yeah.
that you won all the time. Had the
Yeah.
little bowling games and little shooting games, and come in with all these ceramic animals. And Mom and Dad, you said, what are we gonna do with them all over the floors and inside the house and stuff like that? What are you gonna do with those things? But moving along, then you came up, you get to, there was a couple of ice cream shops down there.
Yes.
One was owned by the
My
guy that
cousin.
yeah, Rick. But I'm thinking about the one where you had the ice cream cone. You don't get them nowadays. You get that cone and it'd be like this. The end of the cone, instead of being round, it was oblong, and you get 5 scoops of ice
Oh, I
cream in
remember that.
there for
Yep.
a quarter. And that was from Bowlby's. It was Bowlby's,
Bowlby's.
Bowlby's
Yep.
booth. And that was right down there too. And it was a good booth. We had a couple of good eating booths down there besides Mackey's.
Is that
we would
Hank
go to.
Bowlby?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was Hank Bowlby back in there. And okay, we had a bowling alley down there too.
Bowling alley.
And you never bowled a game, you threw a game because there were sand traps and water hazards in the bowling alley. And lights hanging out. If you threw it too high, you hit the lights going down. And
Yeah.
what we'd do is we'd go down in the summertime and we'd set up 5-pin, so you just had a 5-pin ball. So you'd set up the pins, and after you'd done one game, you had enough to play a game. So you'd set up game, then you go bowl a game or throw a game, then set up and go again. So that was kind of fun. And in our moving on up to age group, when Doug and I were into trampolines and stuff, they had at one time down there 9 trampolines
And they were-
in the sand.
They were down in the sand.
Yeah,
So
there's a pin underneath.
there's
it.
nothing
Yeah.
up high. Yeah, a pit down underneath.
We
we-
dug it out
Yeah.
and made,
And about in front of.
And you paid, how much did you
Mackey's
pay to
maybe,
have a
or
turn
it
on the
was-
trampoline?
Not
don't
much. It was
remember
run by
paying.
Jim
Yeah.
Rickman. Jimmy
Yep.
Rickman, who lived
Yep.
up on Harrison Place, up the
Yep.
hill up on Woodpecker Point up there.
Yep.
And sometimes we come down and supervise for them.
Yeah.
We'd play tag on them,
remember
jumping
playing.
from trampoline
Yeah.
to trampoline, all around the 9, play
Jump
tag,
one.
flip from one to the other,
Yeah.
stuff like that. That's where Doug
Sounds very
first
safe.
cracked the
Yeah.
neck. First
Yeah.
cracked the neck down there doing that. It was a good
Then we had
time.
the roller rink down
Oh.
further, Mother's booth. Down
Do you have any idea of a person who lived up by you, Norwood Meek?
Yes,
there. You remember
Okay.
her?
He ran
He
a
ran the
roller drill down.
after he was an opera, or that was his dad that was the opera singer.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And Norwood played the piano very.
And he
good.
was, Norwood was still there when I lived there.
Yeah, yeah, and he had the great big beautiful trees out
The
in
monkey
front, which
tree
he
out in
took
front
down
that they
there,
cut
which was
down.
too bad and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
And that was he did that for the Lions Club, right?
Yeah, for
That's
the
what
Lions,
he-
and also for the Anglican Church.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Anglican Church down there. So, but we had a lot of fun with Norwood. We'd go down there and we'd say, Norwood, you're terrible.
Fun in Norwood.
We'd talk to Norwood and we'd hand our skates to somebody and say, well, we'll see you later, Norwood. Then we'd hop over the boards, put our skates on and start skating. But we would tease him, dreadfully tease the guy. We'd go around, we'd start kicking things and making, he'd come out and everybody'd skate around nice and easy and stuff like that. And they had that I guess it's terrazzo floor down there, but it was marble, I guess,
Yeah.
more like a
I don't
marble.
know.
It was smooth and we had fun. We had some wonderful ladies that could skate really well, and I mean,
Some of
grown
them could really
ladies.
dance out there. They
Yeah,
were good.
and move
So
around.
good.
Didn't they get sand in there though?
No,
No,
he
didn't
had
see no
boards put up,
boards
and
were
he would
all
keep
up.
it. He would keep it nice and clean and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
he kept
And
it swept.
we had those. Oh man, I'm going to say late 50s to early 60s, Len, maybe.
Yeah.
In there, around in there, doing a lot of roller skating in that time down there. So
What other sports did you must have
Oh,
been
man.
sports
Baseball.
guys, eh?
Fastball.
Both plays.
Yeah.
fastball and hockey. Those were the big
We
things
both
for us.
played on the
And
Maroons
was
down
sport
there,
pretty
the
good?
sport team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. At
Yeah.
sports, those, especially fastball in this area, we really liked fastball, and we go like Len and I. We started out. I can remember going way back when I'm maybe 6, 7, maybe even that younger than that. We had 3 teams called the Cubs, the Bears, and one others. And I always played against my 2 brothers. They would always be on the same team, and I'd always play against them. And that was down across from the Stork Club, where there's parking lot is there right now. And that used to be a good field. But down the other end, down to the west end, there was a hardball field down there too. And they had a nurse's station.
Where was
First aid
that?
station.
Right across from the Stork Club.
Oh.
And down at the east end,
further up.
this side of Stanley Park, there's
Yeah.
a couple of places in there.
Yeah.
And there's an old place we used to play pinball down there called Galloway's, and used to go down and
Yep.
play that. And then you'd come up and the park would be there, and the train the train that used to be down, they used to go right down
Yes.
to
Yeah.
down to the end of the park there.
Yeah.
And they used to have ball games, and the people would sit up on Picnic Hill and watch the ball games.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of died off. And that's when the fastball started to move in, which was my age or my generation that could have kids playing fastball. And looking at the people who were playing fastball.
I got out of it at that point.
Yeah.
After the Maroons, I got out of it.
Yeah, for Port Stanley, we had some pretty good teams. My older brother was lucky enough that he got on to play with the, from our area, moved up to, which is called Dean and Baker, which was a pretty good fastball team, playing in Kitchener and Waterloo and Windsor and stuff like that. And then he got on with the with the London TV cable, and in '72 they won the championship, Canadian championship out west, which was kind of neat. So
he did very
fastball, very very big, but it's all died off. It got me into umpiring too. When that came out a little later, you know, I got out of playing fastball and then in a little slow pitch, and then went into umpiring, and then hockey. You talk about hockey. Where do you play hockey in Port Stanley?
on the frozen lake.
On the
We
lake,
did, we did. Church
on
Pond,
the creek,
Creek?
on the church pond.
So Church Pond, meaning behind the Anglican
Francis
Church?
Street,
Behind the
back,
Anglican Church.
it was
We come
all
over the hill.
swamp, it was all pond.
And
we played there
if you
all
wanted
the
to go with
time.
your girlfriend,
Creek.
go for a skate, you go way out
Yep.
back and you skate
Yep.
all around
There's
with
like
your
a
girlfriend.
stream.
Come down and
Yep.
play hockey.
Yep.
Come down and play hockey, and you'd get down and you
Yep.
take no socks, put the skates on, and go out
No
and sit.
pads, yeah, nothing
And
like
we'd
that.
get there, and the guys would always clean the rink off. It'd always be
Yeah.
clean. And then the girls would come out and said, "Well, it's our turn." I
Yeah.
said, "Oh, it's your turn. You're going to clean the rink then." And they would. The girls would get out and they'd shovel the pot, and they'd do like that. And if we played on the creek, it was co-ed. It was guys and girls. I can remember the Stevenson girls
Yep.
playing hockey and stuff like that. And we'd have a big
It was
pond, big street area down in front of stands and stuff like that, playing hockey down the creek.
The girls would play in the same
Oh yeah,
team as
Oh,
you?
yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
One liked to
Keep
play
up,
goal
yeah.
all the time.
Yep.
Couldn't no pads, no nothing like that. She'd play goal without any pads.
Yep.
And she'd stand there with her stick. Jerry'd stand there and I can stop this. You know? So that was kind of fun. And then skating, you could go right out past the pier, and you could do this with automobiles back
Yeah,
then.
we did
was
it
so
too when we
careful.
got older. We
With cars.
drove out there.
Drove
Oh
out
yeah,
the beach.
all the time.
We had an
Yep.
old 52
Doesn't matter the year.
MGA, and we just get out there and just roll and then spin the wheel and you just go
On the ice.
on the ice.
Back then, you
On
could,
the
you could go
ice.
down and go right from the beach right
Yeah,
onto it too.
right
back
onto
then.
the ice because
It'd
it
be
was
so
so
thick.
thick.
There's nothing stopping you, no barriers.
And if you got over to Little Beach, over to your side over there, it was in behind up behind McManus is down there too, right? You could shoot a puck and you chase the
Be
puck.
gone forever.
It'd be gone forever today, and you only got to do that once in a while. And I think I've only seen it maybe twice that I've seen fish frozen in the ice too.
Yep.
You know, in the ice when you're playing hockey. And then Bob Pearson, who we played bridge or play cribbage with, I got him to go out skate. We had 1 year, maybe 10 years ago, when the ice was really nice, and went out and skated on the ice. Haven't done it since. We were hoping this year, when it was nice and clear there for a while and it started to freeze up, we'd go down the creek and stuff, maybe skate a bit. But we played hockey.
Actually looking not too bad.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
it would be pretty good right now.
Yeah, and get out there. We
Safe
get,
enough.
get out there,
Yeah.
and so that was kind of the sports that we did. And if we wanted to get organized, you had to go to St. Thomas, and that meant you're getting up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning to get a ride up to St. Thomas to go to where the arenas were. And one of the best things that happened in Port Stanley, it almost split Port Stanley, was the 1972 they built the arena. And that the older generation said, no, it's going to cost us way too much and stuff like that. The younger said, we need it, let's bring it. So the kids, one of the best things that ever happened was that arena coming in there. And it's used
That was
so much
Stan
right now.
Spears, I believe that.
Yeah.
And was that before or after the new school? Like you guys went to school in the
Oh,
old
We went to
West
the
School.
old school.
Yeah, the old school, yeah.
old school, the
Oh,
bottom
that
of the
was,
hill, yeah.
that's where I saw my first Aurora Borealis was in the old school, on the top of the old school. We'd climb up, we had a way to climb up on the roof and then right up in the top of the.
On the
watch,
roof.
Watch
Yeah.
the Aurora Borealis come in.
Because that was already a 2 or 3 story building.
Well,
Oh,
three-story,
yeah,
but it was a
three-story.
flat roof.
Okay.
over
Yeah, that was a
part.
new
was a newer
division. Like we
division, yeah.
started when it wasn't there. The grade
Yeah.
8 room
Yeah.
had not been built yet, and
We were still shoveling coal back there into the furnace.
yeah, putting down in there, and we'd come down the steps in the morning. Where if you're in grade, what was it, 5, 6, or 7, you're up above. And 1, 2, 3, you're down below. And if you grade 8, they finally made a separate room for the grade 8s and stuff like that in there, which was really really neat. But if we wanted a ball and bat, which was our playing time, we had asked the custodian, and if he wasn't there, we had a window that was always open in the grade 8 room. Go in and get a bat and ball, and then come out and play baseball and stuff like that. So it was kind of fun back there. And in the springtime, it was too muddy to play ball because it was grass all around. You play marbles.
Yeah.
And, you flick the marbles, you bomb
we
in.
did. Yep.
All these guys started bringing in these boards where you kept losing your marble and all.
That's what we played at Union
Okay,
too.
yeah.
We played a lot
Played
of marbles.
lot of marbles. So school was School was good. They had the, like I said, we had morning exercises every morning, which I really liked. And in my teaching career, when I taught, one of the worst things that I ever thought happened was taking the prayer, the Lord's Prayer and the national anthem out of
schools.
Out of schools. I thought it was terrible, you know. But the school was fun. School was fun down there, and it was moved actually, right, Len? It was across the creek when it first was, and it was only maybe a 1 or 2 story or 1 or 2 room building, and they moved it across in logs and moved it to where it was, and then built up from there. So that's what I can tell you about the school, except we had a lot of fun down there and stuff like that. So
We're on what, our 4th school now? I think.
yeah, I think so.
Something like
the new
that.
school.
Was that I've seen pictures of a red brick school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that the school?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got
we-
good pictures.
That's where
You
you
want to
guys
see
went.
them later?
Yeah, that's where we
And
went.
when
yeah.
you say it was originally across the creek, where
Well,
That's-
no, it was
or-
across Francis. It was on the other side of Francis Street. There was
Yeah.
one on
Yeah,
the
but even
hillside
before
there.
that, it was over
okay.
across, and they brought it to the place on Francis Street, and then they moved it again.
Okay.
So
That's why I'm thinking
that-
4th.
That was before us, before
Yeah.
us, what we
Yeah.
heard about and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So, but
What about your dad? Now, your dad was the doctor.
Oh.
Did you guys get calls every hour of the night and day
Yep.
when you were?
I
kids?
can remember going out. His dad would wake us up because I was there a lot,
yeah,
and his dad would wake us up. A tree came down over the road. You guys got to get up and move it. I got a call to go out.
Yeah.
Deliver a baby or whatever, and
So you kids would get up and
we would get up and
We'd
move
get
the
up and
tree.
get-
yeah.
get
or
that
shovel the
clear.
laneway.
Shovel
but
the
we were
laneway,
good.
yeah.
We back in 1945 when Dad got out of, he didn't know what he was going to do. He was just a married man. Sherry had been born, and he hadn't even seen Sherry yet, you know. And he was coming out of the armed forces, riding on a frigate or a crater or something.
He was in the Navy.
Yeah,
He was
in
a
the Navy
surgeon
and stuff
in the
like
Navy.
that. And he didn't know what. We had a cop by the name of C. Everard down here, and he said, "You want a job, Doc?" And he said, "Yeah, I need a job." He says, "Well, there's a little village, and it's called Port Stanley. Would you like to go there?" He says, "Yeah, I guess I could do that for a few years." You know, so he came into Port Stanley, and we were born then, and he's starting to settle in pretty good. There's only a population of maybe 900 people back then.
Yeah.
Okay, so
We
he's
knew
serving,
everybody.
year round.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's serving the community there. And when we were first there, if they wouldn't pay him, we would never go hungry.
No.
You know, we would
Fish,
have
eggs, yep,
cheese,
stuff like that.
crackers. You know, it didn't
All
get
the time.
really good for Dad till maybe the late '60s and the early '70s when OHIP came in. And then after that, he was paid. He was paid.
Government
and,
paid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
paid all the time.
Before
by the
that,
government.
people had to pay.
Yeah, well,
Back
they
when
gave
you
what he
had
could,
money.
and he didn't care.
Yeah.
He was out of the house more than he was in the house. Okay, if there was a call, he was gone, and a lot of tears. He cried a lot of tears with a lot of people because he was a coroner down here at one time too, you know, with deaths and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But if a person needed something, Dad'd go, and he had pretty basic doctor.
Yeah.
Pretty basic.
I remember him
doctor.
telling me once that I went to the office once, an appointment. He said, "What are you doing here?" He says, "Don't waste my time here at the office. I see you every day at the house." He says, "There's real patients have to come here."
Yeah.
And it was funny.
His first office.
Yeah.
His first office, I think it was in the little house we were at, but then he moved into where John Morrow is
John
now.
Morrow, yeah.
And he was in there, and I can remember
I remember going in there. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
going to this side, you were going downhill to this side.
Yeah.
He had a little waiting room in front, and then you had an examining room, then his little office way at the
So
back.
the floors were.
Yeah, the floors were curved and stuff like that. But John straightened it up all right. And then after that, he moved over to Main Street, right beside Alvin Culver's.
That's right.
I'm trying to remember the name of the stores that are there.
No, I
They
don't
were in
remember,
there.
but,
But I can remember cleaning the office for him and then cleaning that all up. And people would come in and sit, first come, first serve.
Waiting room. Yep.
You know, if you made an appointment, and it was an emergency, he'd take you in first if there was something really, you know, and stuff like that. And he loved it over there because Al Culver was learning music and was playing music, and he would open his back door in the summertime, and Al was playing, and the people would hear it, and it was great, you know, with stuff like that. So it was really, really good over there. And that, but he went through the Masons too. Okay, he was through the Masons and moved right up to Canada, being the big poobah, and take trips and stuff. So a lot of his time was spent in the lodges and out, and then through the shrine and stuff like that.
Where was
So
the lodge in Port Stanley?
right above Art and Soul.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Right
Yeah,
above
yeah,
Art and
yeah.
Soul. And you could have gone up there at any time. And at my age of about just coming around 30ish, I was kind of wondering what I was doing. Like I was teaching school and liking that, but I was kind of lost. And Dad said, "Why don't you come into the lodge?" So I said, "Okay." And the only thing that I do now in the lodge, and what it did for me, is it drove me back to the church. So it got me back into the church, and it's been good ever since. And stuff like that. So I hardly ever go to the lodge anymore at all, but that's where it got me.
But did you attend the United Church as kids?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
We attended 3 churches.
I went to the Anglican church back when I was a kid.
Yeah.
We had young people in
Yeah.
the Anglican church weekly.
And Bob Fleming, we hung around with.
Yeah. back then.
He went to the Presbyterian church.
Yep.
Okay, so I go to my church and I get a hold of Bob. We go to his church, and then on the I don't know, the Thursday, Friday night or Saturday night, we go to the Anglican church. So we had the 3 churches all involved with the kids in Port Stanley, and ours wasn't anything like it is now. It's just very narrow and a front entrance going up there.
But there
and
was
stuff
a
like that.
manse in those days.
Oh yeah, there was
Yes.
a manse next door. Yeah,
What made them get rid of that?
parking lot. We needed space for people coming in, and they thought it would be better to go to a cost of living or for the minister coming in and stuff. And at that time, our congregation was big, like we could afford that, and afford that. Now I don't. We're just hanging out by our teeth, but still enjoying it. You know that, Nora. So, but it was good. All 3 churches, and
Let's,
I know.
I was going to say, let's talk about, remember Port, like we had 4 gas stations. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah,
At one time,
at one time. Yeah.
down in Port. 4 different gas
Well,
stations.
one
Plus a
was
body
where the
shop.
Max Milk is, right?
That's right,
And
right.
where else?
What-
And
That was a
it?
super test.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then there was a body shop where the LCBO is.
Right.
Across the road from that where the Legion was, there was a gas station.
A
I think it was
gas
a
station.
super test, was it?
I thought the super test was with Alfie Baker's
Maybe.
down there,
Yeah.
and I
The
thought that was a
names-
white rose or something.
Yeah, something. Yeah, it could have
Something
been
with white rose in there, and then you had the one right in the corner, which is the B8 or the golf
Yeah,
station.
and then we had the one
And then you had
across the
Normie's.
road. Across the road where,
Going up the schoolhouse hill, just at
Yeah.
the bottom of the
well,
schoolhouse
where the
hill.
fire hall was.
Yeah, where the fire hall
Where the
was.
market
There's
is now.
a-
There was one.
Yeah.
Hard to believe you supported that many gas stations back then.
Yeah, get a job there and work there in the
Oh, we
summertime,
did.
stuff like
Yeah,
that.
we pumped gas, we did tires, we washed cars,
Prime tobacco.
prime tobacco, we did all
Which
that.
gas station did you work at?
I worked at the BA. I worked at the gas
Yeah,
station
Bob Cook,
run by
yeah.
Bob Cook.
Yeah, we
so did
both
my
did.
brother and
Yeah,
stuff like
I
that.
did too.
And I built this house with Bob Cook's brother, Bill Cook. And so we had the Cook family down here. And Bob was a gas man, or the gas station, and Bill was a carpenter, and Bud, who lived over here,
was
he was a
fisherman.
fisherman
Fisher.
down in here. And when we had fishing back in then, there had to be 12,
14 boats in
Boats.
Port. that
we had a
were
lot of
fishing out
boats.
here, yeah.
Not anymore. Like we're down to,
What, 3 families or something now?
we got Siddles, Weavers, Golems, and there's one that
we don't have
I don't know
Jackson
who owns
anymore,
the
so-
Petrie. I can't remember who owns
That's
that
not
one.
from here. though.
They're not
No,
from
yeah,
here.
they're not
That's
from
not,
here, but
no,
it's
they're not
down.
from here.
And also,
Well, these boats they have today are probably much bigger, aren't they? Or-
I don't know. Tom's what had a smaller boat.
Yeah, my dad's
Sam had a
was
small
smaller.
boat. Sam very had a
Sam
small
and my
boat.
dad both had small ones. They could run themselves.
They could run by one
Yeah.
person, but most of them had some pretty
Yeah.
good sized boats when you get
Yeah.
back in there. The LNS, Solaria,
Yep,
it was
they
a
did
big
the
boat. The
ferries,
very
yes.
boats. It was a big boat. So.
Yeah.
And were they built in Port Burwell, Ralph Hurley?
Ralph Hurley built
Yeah.
my dad's
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, you got that going there pretty
Yeah.
good. Yeah. And it was I was fortunate enough that after I did a year where I didn't teach. I took a 4 for 5, and I wanted one of those part of those maybe a week or so. I fished. I went down to not out of Port either. I went down to Wheatley, and I fished out of Wheatley with Bob Fleming, who was on the George Simmons boat down there. And I loved it. I loved it. Going out and fishing like that, it's a good life.
I
As
couldn't
long
do
as you
that.
didn't get seasick and stuff like that, it was great.
I go with my dad's and I get seasick. So yeah.
I can remember picking my first box of fish, and I celebrated because everybody sees these guys go
Picking them out of the nets.
picking
yeah.
them out of the net, and they give you a little hook thing.
Makes
to
it
put
look
onto
easy,
it.
right?
Fish hook.
Make it look
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
Make it look easy. So besides that fishing, there was also nightline fishing in the creek.
Only 2 people had a license for that. Art Carey and my father
Yeah, and they
had a license for that.
but they weren't
For
the only
catfish.
they weren't the only
they
ones.
kept them
that-
alive, and then Americans would come over and pick them up in big tanker trucks. They dump them into the tanker truck.
Because it was a specialty or something, or a rare fish?
We didn't eat them, but just catfish.
They'd
Lot of
put
fish.
a line across, and then they'd
Yep.
drop a line, and they'd put a big juicy
Hook-
worm on it.
hooks. Well, we
And
used
the fish would come along
worms.
and they'd leave it
We
in there
u-
all day and then go back and they'd pick up the lines and they'd pick up
We
the
used
fish.
not only worms, we cut up smelt.
Yeah, yeah.
And we cut up, well, there's crayfish too.
Yeah, yeah, they cut
Crabs
up
we
a bunch
put
of
on
things.
there for.
You must remember the smelt runs too.
Oh yes, oh yes,
Oh,
very much so.
they were really, really good. And we didn't do smelt down here in the lake down here. Or I should say in Mackey's or anywhere. We went down to the creeks and you just catch it
Like
by your
Little
hand.
Creek, where it comes out there. Yeah.
Put it in. And then we come down in the old house
Bushel
here, remember up
baskets
in the
full.
hill here, we come down the old house with bushel basket full and then just start cleaning them, frying them, and then eat them. It was good.
Heads and all.
No, well, after you got them cooked was good. It was pretty easy to eat a smelt, you don't, no head on them, but
My grandfather used to smoke them. He lived right across from.
it was
Stan's
really
Marina.
hard too, because you had to
House
light
there.
it for a long time,
Jeez.
Yeah, I think.
Back then, you could have fires on the beach and the big,
Yes.
great big bonfires,
Yes.
and yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, what else should I be telling them on that?
Well, we covered Port Stanley, some of the stores. We've done that.
Well, yeah, stores were different. Yeah,
Like
we-
yours, where Art and Soul, that used to be Dempsey's jewelry store.
Yeah, and that's,
Yeah.
they had the
Yeah.
Masonic Hall above
Remember
it.
going in there?
And Lionel Bolt had a
Oh, yeah.
TV repair.
TV repair.
Right.
He was our
Beside-
he was
yeah,
our
yeah.
Sunday school superintendent.
And then we had a shoe repair in there
Good
too.
job. Good job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
What was his
Dimmicks?
name?
No.
No, Dimmicks.
Dimmicks. What was Dimmicks? Was he the shoe guy?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
think
they
he was
sold
a shoe
shoes.
guy
Yeah,
down in
Dimmicks.
there.
Yeah.
Ridge Street there?
Yeah, right along the Art
Right
and
along.
Sold side.
Yeah, right on
And
that
then
side.
Bessie Renwick owned right by the gas station. The gas station and
first
the
one, she
little
had a variety
wall
store.
and then a little variety store. And you get just about anything at the Bessie Renwick's in there.
And the old coffee shop over in the corner, it was meat market.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's,
And there was a pharmacy across there.
Yeah.
The dad worked with Jerry
right, Jerry Elliott.
Elliott out of there, Pat's dad
Yeah.
down here and stuff like that. He worked very close at hand. They were
Yeah.
pretty good
Yeah.
out of there. And then we had actually there was 3 barbers in
Yes.
Port Stanley too when you did it. And the Clifton was right behind the barber shops. And the youngest barber is Jim Barr. If you didn't find Jim, you just go over to the Clifton and say, Jim, come on out, I need a haircut. Come on out of the Clifton and get a haircut. And if he wasn't around or he was too drunk to cut, you go next door to Mickey Downing's. And Mickey was a little pot-bellied man, and when he'd cut your hair, instead of pushing you with his arms, he'd take his stomach and give you a little push around you.
What was the other one's name? Neil.
Harry Neal.
Harry Neal.
Harry
was the
Neal
other
was
one.
in there, and there's one, believe it or not, up past a new school, up past Kettle Creek School there. They lived in a house that I got haircuts, so there was
Right.
one up there. And Larry Larmer.
Larry
Larry
Larmer was a
Larmer used
barber.
to
He was
cut
on the
hair,
main
too.
street there.
Okay.
So he used to cut hair. So we had a few barbers in there. There must have been some girl shops, but I never worried about
remember.
those.
What about like Port Stanley's always had summer people and year-round
Yes,
people?
oh yes.
Oh, yeah.
And how much did you mix with like your age
The summer
We did.
people?
that
The
were
girls
there in
we
the
mixed
summer?
with.
Yeah.
Laurie and Janice.
Oh, that reminds me, and the Plastos.
Plastos.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Who
mix
you
with
know,
those.
and- yeah.
But when you mention that, it also reminded me of when they used to cut ice down here.
Yeah.
Okay, and they used to store ice in both Wilson and Loader and
Graylings.
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 And they'd cut ice. I can remember them cutting ice and storing
Yeah,
it.
I remember
And
it.
they'd use some of that ice. Well, you think, well, it's just for the fish. No, they used it to put in ice boxes.
Yeah.
You know, so, and his brother, my brother, and a guy called Truman. What was his?
Truman Shaw.
Truman Shaw were milkmen, and they would come with their milk, and they'd come right in your house, and they'd look in the fridge. Oh, you need this, this, or this, and they'd give you this, and then you'd pay them, and then you go
Money
back.
would be
you
on
come
the
back.
table.
Yeah, you come back
Sometimes
the next
nobody
week.
would be up.
Yeah, no to be up, and
Money would
some
be
in
on the
house.
table.
Yeah.
Doors weren't
Yeah,
locked.
no doors.
I
were
worked
locked.
on
You
the
just
milk
walked
crew.
in. Yeah, I did too
Yep.
with Dave and stuff. And they had little. Some
Yep.
of them had just little doors that you open. You know, and the milk bottles were left
Yep.
there on the like you'd open the little door, and then they'd open the inside door. They'd take the milk
And we
and they'd put it away.
had butter then and eggs and
Yeah. So,
all that
yeah,
too.
but it was really open. Yeah. You knew everybody.
Yeah.
And mother would come up there. Well, how many have I got here today? And she'd look at the feet that are coming out of the bed and count the number of feet. to see how many we have and stuff like that. So, very, very, very close community. Very, very close. And I think it still has that feeling of, we'll welcome you. Come on in and join us. One of the best things that had to happen was the sewage system that came out. It had to come. Because if we didn't do that, we couldn't have expanded and had all these subdivisions that we've got here. That had to come. And I knew they put down a drain. When I first came here, this place wasn't here. There's a big
Oh, none of this was here.
None of this was here. None of this here.
None of
when
this
I
was here when I
born.
built. I was one of the only houses on the street.
There's our place and Mars' place, and Smith's had a place, but it was in the ground. They were living out of their basement
Yep.
in the ground up here, you know.
And
then the
Alan
people-
Burke lived down.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
Alan
yeah,
Burke, yeah,
yeah.
and they had the sulkies. That now
Yeah.
you got me into another
They
story.
had the Hackney
Yeah.
ponies, yeah.
Yep.
Between the
Remember
ages
them
of
well.
about 12 to 15,
That's where Cynthia
16,
and Brian are now.
loved
Yeah.
going over to Hepburn's, Brian Hepburn's and Dad's place. Ron Hepburn, and there's Ron over here, and
And
Don over there, and they had horse stables. Loved horses. I would go over and became a count or I don't know, a trail boss. We clean the horses, back the horses, bring the people in, take them on trail rides. Loved horses, still do. That's why I've got the motorcycle out there. It's my iron horse. You know, so I don't have to feed it hay, but I got to feed it gas. And loved horses. So, and that was fun. And I had my granddaughters, and we'd walk over when my granddaughters were born. I'd walk through the woods and down over here and over to Hepburn's, get up and see the horses. So I hope they still love horses too and stuff like that. So that was something that we did too. Besides ride motorcycles.
Yeah, we did horses. Yep.
Picked motorcycles up from 16 on, from ages of 16, and more open, Dave. You know, like you wouldn't want your kids to go out and drive the streets now because it's so busy and stuff like that. But back then, we're 12, 13, we're
Yeah.
driving.
Yeah.
We're driving on the
No
road.
hard hats. And
No hard
No,
hats.
no, helmets
With-
weren't legal
with
then.
more- And
You
in
didn't-
cars
you didn't
too.
have to.
Didn't matter whether it's cars or bikes, we were driving. You know, so and there's hardly.
And being super careful, probably.
Yeah, super careful.
No taking any chances, right?
You ever heard?
Boys will be
Did you
boys.
ever hear the car tag? We would stretch car tag from Port Stanley all the way down to Port Bruce, all the way up through Union and all. We hate to say
All the
it.
time.
When they show you those things, some of them are true. Some of them are true. We played
Bumpers did touch.
Yeah, every now and then. And the nicest thing is most of the cops knew us,
Yeah.
and we were pretty good. You know, like
We weren't out breaking into
we were
places.
not trying to
nothing
break
like
into
that.
thing, you know, or do
Just having
Just
fun.
having fun.
Yeah,
just
that's
have a
all.
little bit of fun and stuff like that. But it was much more open and much more
Yeah.
not so. I guess I don't know what you'd call it, but it's congestion. I guess is the word I want to use on that. So. Anything else you want that you can stimulate our memories with?
You've covered a lot of bases, but
Oh yeah, the school was good. Like the school coming up, the new school, that was very good for them to come over and bring that in, because that I think that helped. And they had some pretty good programs, and their auditoriums and stuff made it a community. You went to that school, and I can remember my son starting an acting career in that school and being Scrooge, you know, in the Christmas play and stuff like that.
in the new
But
school.
yeah. But your whole and before that, if we had to do anything along like that, it was in the town hall.
Yep.
Went up into the town hall.
They
you
had a
know,
stage.
You had a little stage that you could
Big
sing and you could
Yep.
perform your acts,
Yep.
stuff like that. And the only thing we really regret, Len and I regret, about Port Stanley is they didn't get a picture of Leo's.
I've never
What was
seen
Leo's?
one. Leo's
What
was a
was
small
Leo's?
restaurant beside the bridge between the library where it is now, right in.
And
You've
it
seen a
was,
picture of the old library.
it was when
It
you
was-
talk about Greece, this was the
Yeah,
place to
yeah.
go.
And
It
we
was-
hung
yeah,
out there.
yeah,
Like,
we hung
and
out
I've
there.
never seen a postcard or a picture
Or
of it.
pictures of it or
Okay.
anything. And he made us hamburgers, and he had a pinball machine in the corner,
Yeah.
and we'd sit
He had
sit
the
up
little
on
music, the jukeboxes on the
Yeah.
table that you put your money in and play.
We'd set
Yep.
the pinball machine up on our toes, and we'd play it all for a nickel. You'd play for hours, you know. Your turn, so you'd move it and give it to somebody else, you know. I don't know if they ever made any money over there, but they never got a picture of that, and that was too bad.
Yeah.
Because it was one of the things
I've
we
seen
had a lot
some
of fun.
pretty good collections of postcards.
Yeah.
And
No, never.
I've never seen one of Leo's. No.
Yeah.